So this tutorial is on working with shape layers. So I'm going to come up here, and since I don't have any layers in my timeline, right, this is by default a shape layer, and we get a fill and a stroke. We're going to make a box, so we don't want to fill. So I'm going to click on the word fill and click the slash. And then we want a stroke, and we'll just make it a little thicker. So we have the rectangle tool selected, and just make this fit here. And I'm just going to draw like a box. So we have our rectangle. Now I'm just going to go back to the regular selection tool, and we want to go to add trim paths. And then now we can animate this. So start is at 0, end is at 100, leave start alone. And so I'm going to go to like 1 second and say end, turn on the stopwatch for 100, and then go to the beginning and just make it 0. And now when I play this, right, it animates on. We could select both of these, right, and say keyframe assistant and say easy ease, and we could turn on motion blur. And I'm going to trim my work area by dragging this here, and then let's just preview it. So that's what we have. Another option for this is that you could start both of these at 50. So I'm going to make start 50 and end 50 and turn on the stopwatch for both of them. And then at 1 second, I'm going to take start to 0 and end to 100. And now we get something like that. So let's say we like that, and we select these and we say easy ease, and we have motion blur turned on. And maybe just make this a little longer, right? So let's say, that's probably too long. Let's say around a second, 12 frames. So now we want to name this box, and we want to make a line. So we're going to click off, and we're going to go to the pen tool, and I'm just going to click in here and then hold shift, right, to constrain it. And so as this is coming up here, we have a line. So we're going to call this line. And then we're going to do the same thing with trim pass, add trim pass. This time we're going to make this start at 50, right? Because we do want this to start in the middle. So 50, 50. And think of this as left and right. So I'm going to make the start and end both at 50. And then start's going to get a 0 and end's going to go to 100. And let's stagger this. And let's also, easy ease is F9. We'll just do this so we have that. And so now let's make some text for this. So I've got my selection tool. And I'm just going to do something like up next. And maybe I'm just going to make them a cap so I don't have to worry about the letters on the line. So I'm going to come do something like this. I'm going to make it big and make it bold. And I'm going to put it somewhere right here. And we could just stagger this. We've been staggering everything, right? So we have that, and we have this. And then we want the text to happen. So go to your text and hit P, right? Position. And this is where we want the text to end. We want it to start below that line, right? So I'm just going to do something like this, right? So this is what we have right now. Again, we could hit F9 and set all this stuff up. So now we need to make a shape layer, right, to mask this text. So click off of everything, grab your rectangle, and this time you want to click on the word fill and make it solid. And this time you want to go to the word stroke and say no stroke. Doesn't matter what the color is because it's just going to be a mask. So we're now going to do something like this where the text is going to be we're just covering it like that. And I'm going to call this mask. And then I want to click toggle switches. And now we can see the track mat. So up next and the mask. So we're going to pick that. And then let's play it. So the box comes up, the line comes up, and the text comes up. And you know, we can move the mask just to be the same length as this. And you can stagger this however you want this to be, right? So let's just see how that times out. Yeah, that looks okay. So that is using text with shape layers to animate a box and a line, and then we also use the shape layer as a mask for the track matte.